Right. Hari Om Tat Sat and Namaste everyone, and a very happy Deepawali to all of you, or a happy Diwali. It's the same thing. It's just pronounced. It's the word is different in different parts of India. Usually in the south of India, we would wish people, or we would refer to the festival as Deepavali. And again, in the south, you'll have some places where we'll say Deepavali, and some will say Deepavali. So it's very very it's just a slight accent, but it's very local and very native in the different states and different places that we are from. But for all purposes, we are here for our sadhana, and I welcome all of you. And thank you for bearing with me while Jillian reminded me that the second link was not working because I was waiting with the morning batches link. Okay, so let me pin my video here. Okay, right. So we will begin our meditation today in two ways. The early morning batch had a pure meditation only because today is when we actually celebrate Lakshmi Puja. And Lakshmi Puja begins in the evening. It's in the evening because Goddess Lakshmi visits our homes when it's dark in the night, when all the homes have lit themselves up with diyas. So the path is clear, the light is shining for her to come into our hearts through our homes. And that's the reason why our evening meditation is going to be slightly different. We will begin with our meditation. However, we will end with a little bit of chanting before the satsang. Okay, and the chant will be it's a very easy chant. We will have two small chants, and we will only chant them 11 times as opposed to the sadhana, which is usually 108 times. Okay, it would have been brilliant to do that. If you have the opportunity, then you can please do that at home, and I will guide you to that as well. So let us begin with our meditation. Sitting comfortably, either if you're sitting on your chair, then place your feet firmly on the floor. And if you're sitting on the floor, in a comfortable cross legged posture, your spine straight but not tense, shoulders relaxed, face soft, your palms either on your knees face down or in a mudra of your choice. We'll begin the practice with 3 deep breaths. Inhaling deeply, exhaling with a sigh. 2 more times at your own pace. Before we begin our meditation, let's ask ourselves a few questions. Who am I? Who am I? And it's perfectly okay if we don't know the answer to this question, but this is a really good time to begin your dialogue with the universe, with yourself. What do I want? What do I really, really want? The answers may be spiritual, physical, financial, emotional, anything, anything that your heart desires. What do I want? What am I here for? What is my purpose? What is my swadharma? How can I help? How can I serve? Allow the answers to spontaneously arise within you. Don't question it. Don't resist the answers. What am I grateful for? What am I thankful for? Now take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let go of all these questions and answers out into the universe to allow them to manifest with the grace of the Divine Mother, manifest in your life when it's right. Now, with the essence of Diwali and in the aftermath of Lakshmy Puja, our meditation will be a guided visualization and also deeply relaxing by bringing in focus the divine light within. Become aware of your body as you're seated. Become aware of your head, your torso, your arms, your legs, the way you're seated. Become aware of it and visualize yourself. Visualize yourself in 3D form. Visualize yourself the way you appear from the front, from the side, from the left, the right. Now transfer this image that you have in the space, the dark space behind your eyelids, your Chidakash, and visualize yourself as you're seated for meditation. Visualize your form from all sides. And now visualize yourself just as an outline, fully experiencing yourself in your Chidakash. Now, as I mention the different parts of your body, imagine those parts lighting up in the space behind your eyelids in your Chidakash. Right thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm, back of your hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, right armpit, right side of your torso, right hip, right thigh, right knee, lower leg, ankle, heel, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now awareness to your left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, left armpit, left side of the torso, left hip, left thigh, left knee, lower leg, ankle, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Now awareness to the entire right side of the body. See it lit up. Awareness to the entire left side of the body. See it lit up. Now for the back of the body. Left sole, right sole of the foot, right calf, left calf, left thigh, right thigh, right buttock, left buttock, lower back, middle back, upper back, the back of your neck, back of your head, top of your head, forehead, right eye, right ear, right cheek, chin, left cheek, left ear, left eye, nose, tip of your nose, upper lip, lower lip, tip of the nose, space between your eyebrows, heart center, your abdomen, heart center. And now see your entire body illuminated, glowing, and full of light. Stay with this awareness for a few moments. Now, very gently, allow this light that's within you to blur at the boundaries and spread out to your surroundings. With everything and all the beings around you illuminated with this light that is within you, see yourself as one with everything, and everything is one within yourself. Very slowly, bring your awareness to your present surroundings as they slowly start taking form. Become aware of where you're sitting to meditate, where you safely sit to meditate. And whenever you're comfortable, take a deep breath in and very slowly open your eyes with a gentle smile on your face. Welcome back. We will now move on to the chants. Everyone okay here? Okay. The chants that are chosen today will be very closely linked with the two stories around Diwali that we will be speaking about in the satsang. The first one will be 11 rounds of Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Okay, you can say this in your own space. I will chant it 11 times. Okay. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I will I will put this chant in the chat box for those of you who would like to chant it later. Okay, this is the mantra for Mahalakshmi. Okay, and there is the story behind why the Diwali is usually where we say that it is when Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi, comes into our homes. And that is Mahalakshmi also that we are speaking about, because it is not just the goddess of abundance and goddess of wealth, but it is the overall, the Shakti of Mahalakshmi that also comes in during this time. And the other story that is there around Diwali is when all the houses in Ayodhya were lit up to welcome Sri Ram, Lakshman, his brother, and his wife Sita back into Ayodhya. And so every house, every home, every place, every garden, every store, every place was lit up with the diyas, or even if it was just one lamp that was placed in front of the house, so that when this family was on their way back to Ayodhya, that they would find their way very easily, that their path would be lit and they were welcomed that way. Of course, the people also stayed up for it, and that is also one of the reasons why Diwali is celebrated. So there are different reasons, different myths, different legends, different stories, but largely, by and large, these are the two. So the mantra, or the mantra that we will be chanting for this will be Shri Ram Jai Ram. Okay, Shri Ram Jai Ram. Pooja, do you have a call and recall for this one? Shri Ram Jai Ram.
Not Sri Ram Jai Ram
Okay.
specifically.
Okay,
Um,
fine. All right, because I heard one in a kirtan today, and I was thinking of you at that point in time. But this is fairly simple, and because we'll only be doing 11 rounds, we won't alter the tune of it. Otherwise, in 108 repetition, it goes two times in one and two times at a different tone. But that's largely just for the bhakti and just for the kirtan of it's usually with the larger crowd. So Shri Ram Jai Ram. Okay, I will just put that here. Shri Ram Jai Ram. Okay. All right. So Shri Ram Jaya Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. 11 repetitions is also sufficient when it comes to bhakti. Even one repetition, when it is said with complete devotion, is sufficient. And it's all about devotion. That's all it is. So today is Diwali, is actually that's, if you can hear in the background, you can hear people are bursting crackers, even though, the government had told us about not bursting them. But in my state, they announced it, and then of course they said, okay, you can burst them if they're green crackers. So we were wondering if green crackers was some kind of edibles, okay, and eatables, but they weren't. They were eco-friendly ones, and I'm hoping that the people are taking care of the environment and other people as well. But the earlier morning, this morning's satsang had a slightly different take on it. So Diwali is celebrated over 5 days. The first day, we begin with Dhanteras. Dhanteras is also called as Trayodashi. Trayodashi in Sanskritam refers to 13. It's the 13th day of the month. Okay, the 13th day. Tray meaning three, and Dashi is 13. And this day is significant for a number of reasons. Dhanteras has the word dhan, which is a day, for most people, that is auspicious for them to buy ornaments or jewelry or even vessels, utensils, cooking utensils. The reason being that all of these items, and largely when we talk about cooking utensils, we're talking about either steel or brass, usually steel vessels. Okay, and it is because these items signify abundance, signify that the abundance that is there in the family is to not just provide for themselves or have plenty for themselves, but also be able to serve others with that wealth that they have. But at the same time, see, we usually hear of this as health is wealth. So apart from the physical riches, apart from the material riches and the wealth that we would accumulate, Dhanteras also is a time when Lord Dhanvantari is worshipped or propitiated. Lord Dhanvantari, if in when we had the Navratri sadhana, some of you may remember, we spoke about, or even in Ayurveda, those of you who've been in my Ayurveda classes, we spoke about the churning of the ocean when the Asuras and the Devas were at war, when they said, no, who's going to be boss? Who's going to be, they've already thrown the Devas out of Devloka, and they said, we're the boss. And Vishnu gave them an idea saying that, okay, let's go and get a deal with them, saying, let's churn the ocean of milk and get the soma that's there, the somras, which is the elixir of immortality. And the Asuras obviously wanted this, and they said, okay, because they can't do it by themselves, you have to work together. So they churned this ocean with the mountain Meru by using the serpent Vasuki as the rope, or I can't remember. I couldn't remember in the morning, and I didn't Google the word. But those of us who know how ghee and butter is churned, there is, you can either do it with your hand, but there's also sometimes that little bit of a rope that's there that turns it around. So they used the snake for that. And while the ocean churned, there were a number of things that gifts and products that came out of this churning of the ocean of milk. And the first thing that came up was poison. The first thing that came up was this very toxic substance, which no one could take. No material could touch it. No deva or asura could touch it. The only person who could withstand that poison was Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is pure consciousness above and beyond the three gunas. Right, so he's neither sattvic nor tamasic nor rajasic. He is that essential consciousness, and he was called, and he said, "Okay, fine, I'll drink this poison." And because he drank that poison, and one story or one legend has it that Parvati came running and said, "Oh, Shiva, you can't die." And she went and caught hold of his throat. And that's why the poison remained just here. And Shiva is said to be Neelkant, because Neel is blue, and Kant refers to the neck. So he's got a blue neck. Okay, but for the others who don't say it's just the only the neck, he was able to, and that's why Shiva is actually blue a little bit, because he's taken in all the poison. Now once the poison has been taken, the next one who came up was Lord Dhanvantari. Lord Dhanvantari came up, and he is the god of Ayurveda, of all healing. And he comes with the, with the scriptures, or in the earlier texts with leeches, because leeches were necessary in earlier times. They were used as part of panchakarma, fireworks, panchakarma, for bloodletting, for removing excessive toxic blood from the system. And uh, okay, well, so he came about, and because he is there bringing in all the wisdom that gives us good health, Dhanvantari is that Lord, that God who's also worshipped during Diwali. And that's why that day is Dhanteras, because that Dhanteras also worships Dhanvantari. And I don't remember the date exactly, but Ayush, the Ministry of Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, and Ayush Siddha and homeopathy in India had recognized this day as the International Day of Ayurveda, or by celebrating Dhanvantari for this purpose. So that is the health is wealth part, and why Dhanvantari, or that day is celebrated as Dhanteras. The second day becomes more important because, okay, so before we go to the second day, this day, this relevance of the churning of the ocean, why do I have to tell this to you today? I have to tell this to you today because this churning of the ocean is not just a story for me to share Indian mythology with you. It is because this ocean of milk, is nothing but ourselves, our mind. Okay? It's that state of our mind that is constantly in chaos. And to purify it, right, it gets churned. That churning happens through the tapas, through our sadhana. And when that comes up, like we all know, when we step on the path of sadhana, when we step on the path of discipleship, the first thing that comes up are all the toxins. When you start a fast, you start getting irritable. When you start a practice, you start finding all the excuses that will come up as obstacles. So the first thing that comes up in the churning of the mind to purify it and get that elixir of immortality, which is our self-realization, are all the toxins. And the toxins are taken up, and they, when you constantly stay at it, that's why it's important to show up. Shiva clears up that toxin for you and say, "Okay, I'll take it up for you. Now you do the rest." Now, what is the rest? The rest is what follows on Chaturdashi, that is Narak Chaturdashi, or day 2 of Diwali. Chaturdashi refers to Chatur, 4, Dashi, 10, 4 and 10, 14. It's the 14th day. Okay. And Chaturdashi is also known as Narak Chaturdashi. Those of us who know Indian languages will know that Narak also refers to hell. Okay. Now, what this day signifies is these Chaturdashi principles are Chaturdashi elements that are there in all of us, that as long as they're there, we will remain impure. Okay. As long as they remain in control. Those are the, let's go with the Dashi part first. The 10 parts are your 10 Jnanendriyas and your 5 Jnanendriyas and your 5 Karmendriyas. Okay. Your 5 sensory principles and your 5 sensory, the organs of action. Okay. Now, when we do yoga nidra or when we did this meditation today, what we did was we tried to consolidate and withdraw our senses by performing a part of nyasa in a way, by giving specific attention to certain parts of the body. That's a practice for us to start being in control of our physical self, because otherwise we tend to be very selfish. We do everything for ourselves. We do everything right from our Diwali celebrations for ourselves. Our celebrations, this year are very different. Unlike other days when we have parties and we have all of these things, this year we hear messages saying that this year's Diwali, spend it with your family. Stay with your closed ones. And what that does is it adds more attachment. We think then that Diwali is only about me, my family, my husband, my wife, my spouse, my partner, my children, my parents, my siblings, my pets, me. It's about me. And that means that we are still attached to a lot of the sensory pleasures that we get from being very self centered. So, this is the dashi part of it that we need to overcome. We need to overcome the attachment to all the physical requirements, the parts that our body tells us, I want this for myself. Okay. And the chatur part now. So that's all your sthula level. That's the level of your physical body, physical, physiological to some extent. Okay. Even your emotions and a little bit to your sensations. But then the chatur part is the intangible. It is your manas, your mind, your buddhi, that's your intellect, the part that discerns, your chitta, your purer mind field, your essence of consciousness, and more importantly, the ahankara, your ego, your sense of identity, which then separates you from everyone else. As long as these chaturdashi elements are existent in us, because they're existent in us, and they take precedence when we allow them to, we cannot be purified to unite towards self realization and to get that elixir of soma. Okay, so Chaturdashi is important, and that's why the significance of Chaturdashi ritualistically, okay, and symbolically is when everyone is cleaning up their homes. Everyone is cleaning up their homes. It's Choti Diwali, the small Diwali. Everyone is cleaning up their homes. But the significance is that not only do we clean our homes, it's a time for us to clean our inner homes. And that's the reason Diwali or Deepawali is that festival of light when you shine light on all the gunk that is within us. That's why this is a very ripe time for mantra sadhana, not asana necessarily. This is a time when we purify on the inside. Okay. And once you've done that cleaning, once we've spring cleaned ourselves, then, so the cleaning is always important before the beautification, right? So when we see Diwali, we see all the beautiful diyas, all the beautiful clothes, the finery, which is important. It's important for us to see what we wish to feel also. Okay, but if I only did this and I had no effort put in to see what's inside me that needs cleaning and beautifying, then that change wouldn't come in. So the Ma Lakshmi, who we are welcoming on the day of Diwali after Lakshmi Puja, is prepared for during Narak Chaturdashi, okay, by beginning with the spring cleaning. So today, once the house is clean and once the inner house is clean, we make space respectfully as hosts and hostesses to welcome Ma Lakshmi into our homes, not just in our home to give us the material wealth, which she will, but also to give us the spiritual wealth and the emotional wealth, which she also will, provided we don't keep it for ourselves. Because if we keep it for ourselves, then we again drop back into the dashi part of things. And once we settle down to that, chaturdashi happens again. And this is where it's important to also remember chaturdashi is also known as narak chaturdashi, the narak chaturdashi. Narak, for many people if you know the languages, and for those of you who don't, narak refers to hell. Okay. Now, the purpose of hell here to also say there are two different legends or different legends which talk about what is the narak. One is when it's Narakasura, okay, the Asura who was he was an Asura and his name was Narakasura, who was killed and defeated, but and that too for a dharmic reason. There was a reason why he was killed. But the other one, for paucity of time also, is that when we allow our physical limitations, our jnanendriyas, our senses, our sensory perception to take precedence over more evolved spiritual goals, then we drop down into our personal hell, which is narak. So when we usually, when people say, "Oh, you do good things and you'll go up to heaven, and if you do bad things, you'll go down to hell." Well, there's no up or down. Your heaven or hell is right here, depending on how you work around it. So this Diwali, I know we're doing all 5 days, but we're at Lakshmi Puja now, and it's important for all of us to recognize that we need to take time. We need to really take time to purify ourselves in order to open up our hearts and our homes for Ma Lakshmi to bring in the complete array of wealth for us, the spiritual wealth, the physical wealth, that is with our health, the material wealth also through abundance. But more importantly, this Diwali, my ask, um, I'm just adding my voice to the ask of my gurus as well for all of you, because I'm taking this opportunity to reach all of you, is that this Diwali, go a little beyond your own immediate family. We're all in a place of, many of us are still in social isolation, and many of us may not be close to our families. Many of us may not have the opportunity to be in touch with our families. For many, it might be difficult to be or not to be with family at this point in time. And that's why, for those of us who do find comfort and peace during this meditative time, this time of reflection during Diwali, I ask you to dip into your hearts and share this sentiment of Diwali, this feeling of Diwali, this joy that we receive, this light that we receive beyond your immediate family members. And that is not just to other people. It can be to plants, it can be to animals, it can be to the environment around you, because there is no separation. We are one with everything. So it's one thing for us to say, this is a time for us to be close to our family. Yes, by all means be close to your family, but then in that, the joy that comes out of being with your family, take a moment to share a little with someone, feed someone, bring a smile to someone. And it's entirely your call. You will know exactly how you can actually bring it to someone else's life. And on that note, I wish you all a very, very happy Deepavali. May Ma Lakshmi bring all the joys and riches and blessings into your lives, your families, your dear ones, your surroundings, your city, state, country, all through the world, because we're all one and we need all of this. And I heard Swami Niranjanananda's satsang this morning, where he was saying apparently the Earth, on Diwali day in satellite images, we know that it's not necessarily true, but it could be seen, right? If you hover high enough, you'll be able to see India lit up. But then, if that is just through the diyas, then may the light in our hearts allow the light to be, the spark to be lit all over the world, and may the entire world actually feel the light of joy and peace of Deepavali, and it begins with us. So happy Diwali, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's lovely to spend this day with all of you, and I wish you well. Hari Om Tat Sat. And if anyone has anything to ask or anything to say, I am available for a few moments. Aditi is here. Thank you, Aditi.
I have a very basic question. I what does satsang mean?
Satsang. Where is Mandy? Mandy is right there. Okay. Sat is truth. Okay. Sang is community. Community. So a satsang is usually a gathering or a community of like minded people. Okay, but it's called satsang. The word sat is there, so people can gather for any kind of nonsense, right? But a satsang is usually a gathering of people for higher spiritual purposes. It's also because in most traditions, most indigenous traditions, and for the spiritual sense, the disciple is always asked to keep good company. And I remember in a conversation with Mandy some months ago, we spoke about satsangat, right?
Yeah,
In Sikhi, you were
yeah.
saying about
So
satsangat,
yeah, so we call it a sangat. So one of
sangat
the
only.
things, yeah, um, we believe in Sikhism, we believe that everyone's energy becomes one. So when we sit in the Gurdwara and we do Path and Kirtan and Simran, we sit with a Sangat. And everyone's energy treats everyone else's energy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's true. It's all about energy and the vibe that you feel from other people's prayers and Kirtan and light within the ek, the one light. Yeah.
Also, satsang refers to it's not always about so it is always about people coming in together, but sometimes it is also when a particular teacher or a particular member of that community shares something. Yes. Then, okay, Aditi, I'll see you soon, and a little cuddle to the toddler. um, so it is also a satsang. For example, if one of the teachers, one of the esteemed teachers from the different ashrams or different gurukuls or mutts, if they have what we would call as a lecture, right? Well, they won't necessarily lecture. They will give a sermon in a way, but there is always with company, and there is always interaction. There is always inquiry. There is always, what is this? What is that? Like if you look at any of the Vedas, there's always an inquiry involved. And satsang does involve sharing these deeper truths with community, with people who are interested to hear, to learn, or just be in the company of people who are like minded. Yeah.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Divya. Anyone else? Anything? Right. Okay. If not, then I wish you all a very I'll say good night because it's 9:30. It's actually 10:15. You know what? I wanted to show you something. Hang on a minute before we leave. Sorry. Okay, everyone. This is a box of mithai. Okay. These mithai refers to sweets. Okay, what's there? We've got I've got some laddus, some gram flour laddus, besan laddus, motichur laddus. There is some, I don't know what that is. I can't see clearly. And there are some cashew sweets as well. These are all in different ways also offered as prasad, offered as naivedya to my at my altar, and they are blessed. Okay, and then they are consumed by the family members as prasad, as something, that as a gift from God, because um, they soak in the energy of the prayer. They soak in the energy. Those of you who have also recently been initiated with me, when we have the flower or the fruit, it soaks in the energy of the mantras. So I know I can't offer it to you. You may see a picture somewhere on Facebook or Instagram about that, but when I offered you, you please receive it. Receive it. This is from my home and my heart to all of you. There it is again. Okay. This was special because it could only happen with this group. For the next group, they'll see that box tomorrow morning. Okay. And namaste. Um, no problem, Dominique. Thank you. Thank you for your message. And I'm perfectly fine with you taking the time for this, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay. Namaste.
Namaste. That was lovely and happy Diwali, everyone.
Thank you, Divya.
Happy Diwali, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Happy Diwali, Erin. Bye, Pooja.